Hey everyone, Cody from Mac Telecom Networks. Today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different, and that is the ZimaBoard. The team over there reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try one of these boards, and I said yes. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to take a look at the hardware, and then we're going to get it set up and see what applications can run on it. I'm not 100% sure what the final state of the ZimaBoard will be. We could put it to a pfSense router, OpenSense router, make it into TrueNAS, or just have it dedicated to Home Assistant. But we will be putting a few applications on here. Of course, the Unifi network controller, and we'll be adopting some network devices to that. We'll look at UptimeKuma and OpenSpeedTest. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. If you'd like to hire me for network consulting, visit my website at mactelecomnetworks.com. I do have a Discord server and affiliate links down in the description below. Now let's go over to the side table and take our first look at the ZimaBoard and what could be attached to it. This is the ZimaBoard 832, and it looks like this is the top model. I really do like the design of it. I'm probably going to have to 3D print a shell for it, and I'd like to do something with a couple Raspberry Pis. The 832 has 4 cores, 1.1 gigahertz base frequency, 2.2 gigahertz burst, and then 2 megabits L2 cache. For graphics, we have the Intel HD Graphics 500. On the ZimaBoard, we have 8 GB of memory, and we also have 32 GB of storage, and we could expand that storage if we'd like. Now on the front, we have 2 SATA connectors that we could put a hard drive into, and then over on this side, we have 2 USBs, and then we have 2 1 gigabit Ethernet ports. There is also a mini display, and then we have 1 PCIe slot, which I'll end up putting a 10 gigabit NIC to. And for power, we just have a 12 volt input, and that's pretty much it. There's not much more that comes in the box besides a couple stickers. Now I'm going to get it connected up to my network, and then we'll get it started. Now there's a few ways that we could reach the ZimaBoard. We could go to casoos.local, or we could go by the IP address. I'm just going to go by the IP address, as I know it's 192.168.10.82. Now I've already set this up, and I'm not going to factory reset it, but what you would do, you'd hit the starting page and you'd have to create a username and password to be able to get in. So I'm going to put in my username and my password, and we should be reaching the CasoOS dashboard. And now this is the dashboard to the CasoOS on the ZimaBoard, which looks really nice. We can change the wallpaper if we'd like, but it does show us a couple things. We have our time, we have our system status or CPU and our RAM, and then we have our storage and our network activity. On the widget settings, we could change what we want to see and what we don't want to see. So if you don't want the time, system status, storage, or network, you could turn that off, but I'm going to leave it on for now. We also have something that says sync your data. That's sync thing, which we could install if we'd like. And I will be going over that in another video because I want to give it a try. But to give this an upgrade, your dashboard may look a little bit different. We need to go up to the settings. If we look down below, there is updates, and I'm currently on the latest version, which is version 0.4.4.2. Now, a few other things that you could do, you could show the search bar, and we could change our search engine. Currently, I'm just using Google, but you could use DuckDuckGo, Bing, or Start Page. We could change the language and the web port that this is using. It's just defaulted on port 80. Now let's take a look at the App Store and download the apps that we want. So Unifi Network will want UptimeKuma and then OpenSpeedTest. So we'll click on the App Store. And you can see that there's a ton of different apps for you to choose from. We have ESP Home, we have Handbrake, we have Grafana, we also have Cloud Flared, and I believe there's Pi-hole built into this as well. So I'm just going to search in for Unifi Network Controller, and we can see that the controller's there, and we're going to install it. We're going to continue it in the background and get these other applications downloaded. So OpenSpeedTest. And the last one we're going to do is UptimeKuma. The apps have now all downloaded, and we could see them in my dashboard. Let's first try out OpenSpeedTest. And this is great for testing your local internal network speed. So we're going to OpenSpeedTest, and then we're going to just click on Start. And as you can see, we're getting 894 down and 960 up with a 2 millisecond ping and a 0.3 millisecond jitter. So this is really awesome. And once I do get that 10 gigabit card within it, we're going to be doing some more testing. Now, UptimeKuma is another cool program where we could monitor the uptime of some devices. So let's go into it. We need to specify a username and a password and then repeat that password. I'm going to go ahead and then I'll press create. Now we're in the dashboard for UptimeKuma. Let's add a new monitor. In this monitor type, I'm just going to do it by ping, and the friendly name will be UDMSE. So we could either put in a host name here, or we could put in the IP address. I'm going to put in the IP address of 192.168.10.1, and everything else I'm just going to leave at default, and then we're going to press save. Now we can see that we have my UDM SE here, and the uptime is 100%. So this is going to send out a ping every 60 seconds, and we'll end up seeing this chart go green, or if it goes offline, it will go red. So let's add another monitor. It's going to be a ping as well, and this time it will be for my NAS. Again, we're just going to put in the IP address of 192.168.10.220, and then I'm going to press save. So this is really great for a visual representation to see all your devices up or down. And like I said, we could do a whole bunch of different monitor types. We could do HTTP, we could do TCP port, DNS, Docker container, so on and so forth. So if you haven't tried UptimeKuma, you probably should. Now, the last thing that we're going to test out, and why most people come to my channel, is the Unifi network controller. And why would we use the Unifi network controller on something like the ZimaBoard? Well, if you're not using one of their Unifi OS consoles like the Unifi Dream Machine Pro, Unifi Dream Machine SE, the UDW, so on and so forth, maybe you're using a USG 3, a UXG, or a USG Pro 4, or a pfSense or OpenSense. We still need to have a controller to control our access points and switches. You can do this locally on your computer, but if you're using something like a captive portal, you need it to be running 24/7. So let's go ahead and open up the Unifi controller. Now we're into the wizard of the Unifi network controller. We need to give the network application a name. I'll call it ZimaBoard. And then it says, by selecting this, you are agreeing to the end user license, and we're going to agree. We're going to press next on this, and then we're going to sign in. So this is signing in with our single sign-on, or we could do local credentials. I'm going to end up using my SSO. And as you can see, using my single sign-on, it's pushing me to do two-factor authentication. The good thing about this, we'll be able to see this Unifi network controller on unifi.ui.com to be able to do configuration remotely. Step 3 is to have our Unifi network set up for our backup. So enable backups, and you could choose if you want to do this or not, and then press next. Step 4 is device setup. I currently don't have anything plugged into the network that we'd be pushing here, but I will show you how to adopt a switch. Now we have a Wi-Fi setup, which we have no Wi-Fi APs. I'm going to press skip. And then step 6 is review configuration. So it will say the network application, if we have remote access enabled, and it will say our Ubiquiti account, as well as our country or territory. I'm going to have to switch this to Canada, as I'm not in the United States. Now we're inside of the Unifi network controller, and we could see two devices here. We have a USW Flex, which says click to resolve. That's actually sitting on my UDM SE right now, which I need to change the passwords on it. The switch that we're going to adopt is this USW Flex XG. So I'm going to click to adopt, and that will bring it into our controller. Now we can see that it's adopting. There's a few things that we could do with this network controller. Currently, it is only single site, so we'd only be able to use this one place. But if we want to make it multi-site, we could go down to the settings, and then we could click on system. Under system, we have site management. We could click on multi-site management. So if you have a few small businesses, you could add these to a multi-site. We'll click on it, and then we'll press apply changes. Now in the top left corner, after doing that, we could see that we have a site switcher. We could see we only have a default, but if say we had another coffee shop or another site to add, we could add that new site. So that's going to be my quick video on the ZimaBoard. We will end up making more videos on this, as I'm not too sure what I want to do with it. If you want me to do something specific, leave that down in the comments below. I'm probably going to make it into Home Assistant and run something called Scripted so that I could view my Unifi Protect cameras on my Google Home hubs. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. All right, thanks.